ever post a joke online that just totally bombed?
Yeah.
This weekend, Elon Musk showed us that even billionaires aren't immune to that.
Yeah, for sure.
So we are diving into his now deleted X post about attempts on politicians' lives, a post that sparked a ton of outrage and even caught attention all the way in the White House.
Yeah, and what's really, I think, interesting here is this intersection of online humor and like the real world weight. Because when you're dealing with somebody with a platform like Musk has, even a quote unquote joke takes on a whole other dimension, right?
Oh, absolutely. His words carry so much weight. I mean, to refresh everyone's memory, what he did was he implied that nobody was really trying to assassinate Vice President Harris. And then the kicker is he ended it with that thinking face emoji.
Oh yeah.
Like, what are
Right.
we supposed to take from that?
Yeah. And this wasn't in a vacuum either. This was right after a man was arrested for pointing a rifle towards Trump's golf course.
Right.
This is actually the second incident like this in recent weeks. You know,
Oh, wow.
remember the shooting at the Trump rally?
Yeah.
So things are already incredibly tense.
Yeah.
And then you have Musk making light of assassination attempts.
Yeah.
And, I mean, even if he claims it's a joke, you can see how that lands very differently against this really tense backdrop.
Totally. And it's not like this was just a random thought. Like you said, this was on the heels of real events that were happening. So people were already on edge. And then to have somebody like him come out and say something like that, it's just, I don't know, it just really rubbed a lot of people the wrong way.
Totally.
So how did he try to defend himself? Like, what was his excuse for putting that out there?
Yeah. So he did try to defend himself, saying it was a joke that just fell flat without context.
Okay.
He even admitted, and this is a quote,
Hmm.
turns out the jokes are way less funny if people don't know the context and the delivery is plain text.
Okay.
So he's acknowledging that it didn't land the way he intended, but
But is that a good enough defense, though, for somebody like Elon Musk? Like, can you really separate yourself from the platform that you have, the power that you have online, when you make a joke like that, even if it is a bad joke?
right, right. And that's a really important question, I think, to be asking because, I mean, it's, what's that old saying about shouting fire in a crowded theater?
Right.
Even if you think it's clearly a joke, like the potential consequences are just enormous. And in this case, people were not laughing.
No, the internet did not think it was funny. What was the reaction like from other people online?
Yeah, so the reactions online were, I mean, they were pretty intense. Adam Kinzinger, for example, seemed genuinely concerned about this, even suggesting an intervention for Musk.
Wow, an intervention.
Yeah. And Kinzinger actually made another really interesting point, and that was that he brought up Musk's government contracts,
Right.
highlighting how this joke, and again in quotes, could have real-world consequences. Because it's not just a joke, it's coming from somebody who's involved in government in these different ways.
Right. It's not like he's just some random person on the internet.
Exactly.
He has a lot of power, he has a lot of influence, and so when he says things, people listen.
Right, right. And I think this really just shows how online humor, especially from these really powerful figures, it doesn't exist in a vacuum.
No, like it bleeds out into the real world.
What were some of the other reactions to Musk's post?
Well, other reactions kind of ranged on a spectrum. I mean, some people were just appalled. Some people were just appalled. Some people said it was indefensible. Even the White House even weighed in on this.
Oh, wow.
And they called his words irresponsible.
Yeah.
And, it's interesting. The White House, they weren't laughing either. They actually emphasized the need to condemn violence,
Right.
not encourage it, regardless of intent.
Right. Context or not, intent or not, this is something that we should be taking seriously, not making light of. Absolutely. And I think, this entire situation really just kind of underscores the power of online rhetoric and,
Yeah.
these potential consequences, especially in light of, we were just talking about the shooting at the Trump rally. Like, it makes you wonder, how do we balance our freedom of expression online with the responsibility that comes with it?
Yeah, where do you draw the line?
Right.
I mean, that's a tough question, and there's no easy answers. How fair? Unfortunately, we've covered a lot of ground here today. We've talked about a deleted post, a whirlwind of reactions, and just a lot of food for thought about humor and power and responsibility online.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think if Elon Musk, with his vast resources and understanding of the digital landscape, if he can make this kind of misjudgment, what does that say about the responsibility each of us bear when we're engaging online? Something for all of us to consider.